All right, what up, people? It's your boy Chig from Guna Eagle Eye, coming to you again with a brand new video. This time, I am going to do a late night with Chig episode, where I talk to you not just about the Aubameyang story, but I'm going to talk to you about some transfer news as well, and just general kind of things happening around the Arsenal that I've kind of missed over the last couple of days. First things first, though, want you to slap a like on this video. Likes, as always, are important. As I always say, donations are fantastic. They help the show grow. I reinvest in things like this and this, the lighting, and people want me to get new cameras and stuff. But you know what's even better? That like, because that helps the show grow. New people come on. And what I'm hoping they do is they subscribe when they come on. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already. I'm still got targets I want to reach. I want to try and reach 8K before the end of the season. I want to try and reach 10K before the end of the summer. So the best way of helping me do that is by slapping a like on that video, because it's a perpetuated cycle. You slap that like, I will probably hit my targets. So hopefully you guys are doing that right now. Let's talk about Aubameyang, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, the 30-year-old striker playing for Arsenal. Thank you, VP. I appreciate your donation, brother. Much appreciated. Thank you. The 30-year-old striker who has constantly been linked, probably for the last year or so, with a move away from Arsenal. As had constant speculation going over him. As of late, that speculation seems to be moving towards the Inter Milan stage, which is understandable. Barcelona are looking at Inter Milan striker to move on. Inter Milan would obviously be looking to backfill that position. And, a move to Italy might appeal to someone like Aubameyang, particularly as you get older. The Italy move becomes appealing, not necessarily for money, but you still want to compete at the highest level, but it's a league that's not so intense. It's not as physical as the Premier League. So it does make a lot of sense. Well, it seems as though Aubameyang has maybe taken a step towards clarifying where he stands in this. It looks as though that Aubameyang, Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang, is willing potentially to stay at the club. He has made a couple of comments over the weekend. One of those comments was being that he doesn't necessarily need to be at a club who's playing in the Champions League, which was a curious thought. It's like, well, why would you say that unless you're talking about Arsenal? Maybe he feels at this stage that he's 30 years old. He's one of the older statesmen. He likes the idea of helping a club get to that level, as opposed to going to a club who's already at that level, which in a lot of ways makes some sense. It's refreshing. You don't get a lot of 30-year-olds that think like that, but it does sound like something that makes a lot of sense. And then on the flip side of things, he also said very recently that he's happy at Arsenal. That he's always been happy at Arsenal. He's proud to be the captain. But I think the thing that I've always had a problem with, and I think the thing that I know a lot of people have an issue with, so yeah, it's all well and good saying you're happy. Sign the thing, though. Because we've been here before. We've been here before with so many players. You get some players that don't say a damn word. Those are usually the players that are off, right? So Van Persie, I don't care what he says now. He never said a damn word during that whole time that there was speculation. Nazari, same thing. Didn't say a word. Cesc, same thing. Didn't say a word. Those are usually the people who you can see going. I must admit, and big up to Eric for your donation. I'm good. I hope you're well, my man. I haven't seen you in a bit. I hope you're well. But I must admit, I've never usually seen somebody say that they're happy really, really happy at Arsenal to then go, like a couple of months later. It has happened. I remember the case where everybody's about to remind me in the chat room, but I do remember that case. But I will say this, it's not common. Usually Sanchez is another one, didn't say a damn word, you know? So it does happen. My stance has always been very simple. And thank you very much for your donation. Yeah, we are going to need luck. Thanks, United, for angering City ahead of them playing us. Yeah, what was I going to say? Distracted by donations. From my perspective, I've always had a very simple stance with Aubameyang. I want him to stay. Having said that, if he wanted to go, I'd let him go. I've always said the same thing. I always feel like, you know, to me, we could still get 50 to 60 million for him. I truly believe that. Even as someone who's in the last year of their contract and is 30 years old, I still think we can get that much for him. Especially if Inter are really serious about it. And yeah, I don't think necessarily we should just keep him because he's Aubameyang. I think it is a false narrative that you set to say, oh, well, without Aubameyang's goals, we'd be 19th. Yeah, all right, technically, if you physically take away Aubameyang's goals, we'd be 19th. But at the same time, you also can't say that Arsenal wouldn't have had a replacement striker to score Aubameyang's goals. You also can't say that Martinelli wouldn't have stepped up to score some of Aubameyang's goals. You can't say also that even Lacazette wouldn't have had the room, the timing, the runs to be able to score Aubameyang's goals. So it's a false narrative by saying, oh, well, without Aubameyang's goals, we'd be in the bottom three. You'll never necessarily catch me. You won't hear me say that narrative. Do I recognize he's crucial to the team? 100%. He's our best player. He's the only player. I still don't necessarily think he's world class, but he's a world class goal scorer. That much I will say. And I think he's the only player in our team that you could genuinely look at and think, yeah, you could have the debate as to whether he's world class or not. So I think from that perspective, you just got to keep him in the team. It's crucial, actually, that you keep him in the team. I think the signs are encouraging, but the most encouraging sign is signing the contract. And I guess that brings me on to the third piece of news that came out in the last few days, and that's his contract demands. Supposedly for Aubameyang to stay at the club, he's looking for £300,000 a week. And my view is this. If that's the offer, if that's what he truly wants, offer it to him. If he rejects it, see ya. I wouldn't necessarily want to break the bank and offer 350. We shouldn't have given Mesut Ozil 350. But at least in Aubameyang's case, we can justify it. This is a man who scored goals, who scored more than 20 goals last year, looks set to do that this year. He's clearly worshipped by the team. He's an important cog in the team to the point where the coach has said, you know, by any means necessary, we must keep Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang here. He's crucial by that respect because he's goals. He's almost at this point guaranteed goals. So I think I can totally understand why you'd want to do that. From his perspective, I don't blame him for asking that much. He's 30 years old. It's his last big contract. You better pay him. So I think from my perspective, we should pay him £300,000 a week. I mean, we only got to suffer with Mesut Ozil's ass for one more year. So I say just take it on the chin. This is where we should be getting rid of people like Mkhitaryan. Oh, I'll come on to that story later. This might be a bit of a lengthy show. I didn't want it to be, but it might be. Keep remembering stuff. So yeah, I think with the Aubameyang situation, we've got to be able to cut the fat, and if we can cut the fat elsewhere in the team and then give that to Aubameyang, To me, that seems to be the smart play. So that's what I would do. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. Let me know in the comment section. I will try and interact with you as best as I can. And also let me know in the chat room, and I'll come to your comments shortly. I am seeing the chat room flowing as we speak, though. Rago, let's talk about Henrik Mkhitaryan. So I think it was on Friday. I saw one story and I was like, I called it. I called it last week. Last week, I think I did a show with Lee, and I said, you know what? Wouldn't surprise me if you wanted Henrik Mkhitaryan back. And I said, because it's an Arteta sort of player. He's a midfielder with a little bit of technical ability. He's over 30 years old. Arteta will want to keep him. And lo and behold, as if Arteta heard me speaking, this week he came out. The subject of Henrik Mkhitaryan came up. I'm not really sure why. It was in his press conference, but I don't really recall the reason as to why he came up. And he said, yeah, that Henrik Mkhitaryan is a player he's always liked, and that he'd be keen to keep him and see him and see how he kind of develops in the summer. And it just makes you think, so Mikel, who exactly are you looking to get rid of? The youngsters in the team, like your Ainsley Maitland-Niles, your Guendouzi, Sonore. Guendouzi, I think a lot of people are quite keen to see him go anyway, but I think it's just some arse backwards thinking. He makes a lot of baffling decisions. I'll be honest. There are a lot of decisions I look at and I think, huh? But then, I don't know. I know a lot of people watch this and think, well, it's my job to support the team and not understand what the manager says. And to a certain extent, you're correct. But I'm also on my platform, so I will comment on my platform. I'll give my opinion on my platform. And I think it's some bullshit. Henrik Mkhitaryan should be a player that we're looking to get rid of. He's on £200,000 a week. That, forget the fee, forget whatever fee we get for him. That in itself is a year of no longer paying someone £200,000 a week. You know, our wage bill is a very real situation. We ain't got Champions League, and yet somehow we are 10th in the world for our wage bill. We need to fix that. And the way you fix that is by getting rid of Mesut Ozil and the likes of Henrik Mkhitaryan. So that's just my opinion. What do you guys think? Would you keep Mkhitaryan? Oh my gosh. Hopefully not. If Aubameyang does leave, supposedly we are looking at one of two strikers. I guess this would also be the rule if Lacazette ends up leaving. We're looking at Doyel Malin, who is a name we should be familiar with because we sold him to PSV for £500,000 a week, and we were too short-sighted, too dumb to put a buyback clause in there. Now, obviously, he's killing it over in PSV at the moment. Arsenal believe he has a lot of potential that I think most people could see. I think if you ever watched the under-23s play when Malin was in the team, Malin was always one of the main cogs of that team that just killed it. He's been doing well, and Arsenal are interested, and he's interested in the return. Obviously, he feels like he has some unfinished business at Arsenal. Price tag is set to be 48 million, though. I'll be honest, this is a nice story. I cannot see it happening. I definitely can't see it happening if Lacazette leaves. I think it's more likely to happen if Aubameyang leaves, because I think the board will want to show that they are reinvesting that cash into a young prospect who's likely to do well. It's strange, you know. I know this will be an unpopular opinion. I'd actually rather the Jonathan David guy, who is the Genk Canadian striker, who's 20 years old, excuse me, and has been banging goals in. Latest developments on that is that he's potentially interested in a Bundesliga move. The bad news being that Bayern Munich are potentially interested in him. Obviously, very naturally, they're looking to for long-term replacements for Lewandowski. And Jonathan David seems to fit the profile. So it's very unlikely we'll now get Jonathan David. I know a lot of people that thought Jonathan David was overrated anyway, but yeah, it is what it is. What do you guys think? Please let me know. Who would you pick to replace Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang? Okay, there was one more story I wanted to cover, and I can't remember what that is, apart from the Ainsley Maitland-Niles thing, which I will come to. Just bear with me for a second. Yes, I've talked about Dole Malin. Bear with me. Talked about Jonathan David, yes. Have I really touched on everything I wanted to talk about? I know I haven't. I know I haven't. I genuinely know I haven't. Bear with me. Bear with me, guys. Apologies. Please do stick a like on this video as we go on. I won't be with you. I won't be banging on for too long. I just want to make sure that I cover all the stories. I don't want to be sat in bed later tonight thinking, damn, I forgot to talk about that story. So bear with me. I'm going into my own community post just to check I'm touching on everything. Yes, let's talk about this. So Gabriel Martinelli has been called up for the start of next season to the Brazil Olympic squad. And it means that he's looking to miss, I think it's the first 3 games of the season, due to the fact that obviously he would be playing stroke extended rest, which will cause him to miss the start of the season. They say 3 games here, but that sounds like it'll be a lot more to me. What do you guys think? My honest opinion on this personally is let the kid go. I think it's important to him to represent his country. For some ungodly reason, we stopped him going this year, presumably because Arteta was going to play him. And it seems like Arteta hasn't played him since. It feels like a spiteful thing to do to the kid. So I say just let him go. Let him do his thing, represent his country. I think I wouldn't want us to kind of get in the way of his country. I wouldn't want us to become a problem for his country. The reason being, you guys know I'm a long-term thinker. I don't want us to then upset him to the point where he's thinking, oh, fuck these lot. They're stopping me from playing for my country. Let me play for somebody else who will allow me to play for Brazil. Which I know sounds ridiculous, but listen, players are petty, yo. And they're in their feelings quick. So I just want us to be able to sort that situation out as quickly as possible. And as Archie rightly says, Salah's playing for his country. Salah's a big game player for Liverpool. So it'll be interesting to see how we move past this. But what do you guys think? Would you let him go to the Olympics in the summer? Please do let me know. Another story I wanted to talk about, some more transfer rumors. Apparently, Arsenal are leading the chase for the highly rated Turkish and Feyenoord midfielder Orkun Kaku, for 23 million. He's 19 years old, very much a young buck, showing glimpses of how great he can be, which means it's in Arsenal's Will Park. That's the Will Park we shop in. Potentially great, but we don't genuinely know if he will be. But he is a midfielder, probably a long-term Ozil replacement, if we're being honest. Maybe they feel as though bringing him in potentially in the summer, giving him a year with Mesut, and then Mesut hopefully bounces next summer, and then supposedly takes up the mantle. Definitely see the thought process. It would be a little bit of a damning indictment on someone like Emil Smith-Rowe, who's doing pretty well for Huddersfield. But we'll see what happens, because we don't even know if Arteta rates Emil Smith-Rowe. So let's see what happens. But that is the latest story that's come on the park at the moment. There are more Thomas Partey links, but I won't entertain those at this moment in time. Just hope and pray that they come off. All right, 73 people in the chat. Please slap a like on this video. I'm going to be jamming with you literally for the next 10 minutes. Me, you, we will. I did see those rumors, Ben. I'll address that in a minute. Me and you will be jamming here literally for the next. Do you know what? Let's do 10 minutes. 10 minutes. 20 past 11. Please do stick a like on this video. Do hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And let's see what you guys are saying. Any questions, put it into the chat room. Mods, be on the ready. Any idiots, any spammers, just get rid of them. Chig, did you see the Willian rumors? I did. I like Willian. I know he played well today. I would not sign him. But I do think he's a good player. For real, OT. Thank you, VP. Appreciate it, my bro. I feel like you've got your credit card back. Thank you. I appreciate it. Arteta's a good coach, not a manager. Emre would have been getting scrutinized for his decisions. So, Daniel, it's funny you should say that. So I was in a group chat with somebody who hates Emre, right? But can't understand some of the decisions Arteta's making. And I said to that person, even you got to concede that like we realized that Arteta doesn't really do anything at least substitute-wise, or in an obvious way, like from the sideline to influence a game. And that Emre actually was more prepared to do that. He would make a substitute at halftime. He would physically try and influence a game, which we noticed that Arteta isn't particularly one for. And one thing I said to Lee over the weekend was that, have you noticed, he always keeps a sub for the last 5 minutes. It's like he's preparing himself for injuries, which I guess in a way is a smart thing to do. And he always keeps one sub back for the last 5 minutes. So yeah, these are interesting little quirks I am noticing from Arteta. But people won't say it because he's getting the results. But to me, he's getting the results more by fortune than by skill at the moment. He's another Chelsea reject that we should avoid at all costs. Have you heard the rumor? John Stones was the other. That was the story I forgot. Yeah, so I've talked about this in the past. I'll talk about it again. Arsenal are being linked with a £50 million move for John Stones, to the point where Arsenal are willing to meet that huge price tag for a calamity defender like John Stones. If we were to spend 50 million on John Stones, we deserve every mistake that guy makes. It would be one of the biggest transfer L's I've ever seen. I'd actually rather keep Mustafi. And that is saying something. So yeah, hopefully that does not happen. But Mikel Arteta loves him from Man City, so this story does have more weight to it than we would ordinarily like. Plus, I think there's a gut feeling that one of, if not both of, Callum Chambers and Rob Holding will be sold in the summer. We can see that Holding's not even getting into the squad these days. So I think the best bet is that Holding gets sold. I mean, everyone's talking about this is how jokes Arsenal fans are, right? You notice at the moment, as we build towards this Man City game, people are talking about, oh well, Lacazette and Aubameyang need to target John Stones, right? Because John Stones is the weak link. As we pick up towards the summer and we get linked with John Stones, those same people will be bigging up the idea, the story, the fact that John Stones is a good defender. It makes no form of sense. It's like, well, 1 minute, hold on. Before you were saying that we should target him. Now you want us to get him. Like, what are you talking about? Because I remember the last time I brought up this John Stones thing, and I said, no, under no circumstance do I want John Stones. I was getting trashed by people. Those are the same people I'm seeing on Twitter now talking about, oh, well, Aubameyang used to target John Stones. What are you talking about? Either he's crap or he's not. And if he's crap, why do you want Arsenal to go and get him? The mentality of people sometimes it's baffling. Who would I buy if I was the manager of the club? I've got a Chig Knows Best video series in my playlist. Go check that out. It usually talks about options of players that I would go for. I have almost finished a central midfielder one that should be ready this week, where I talk about 5 central midfielders that I would buy for Arsenal Football Club, and then my recommendation. So do check that out. It will be out this week. I hope the same Anderson shows up on Wednesday. Me and you both, VP. Me and you both. I have my doubts, bro. I have my doubts. It will all of a sudden turn into a prime Neuer. Don't want John Stones, not good enough. John Stones won't play. Our Tesco manager might sign John Stones since he seems to have links to Man City leftovers. Upamecano, Tar, buy both. I'd love both. Imagine if we had both, and then we still had Saliba in the background. Maybe you keep an older head like a. So I'd personally keep Socrates, and I'd sell the rest. So all of the rest. Oh man, that defense will be tight. You put a Thomas Partey in there. Oh my gosh, I've got a semi already. I take Willian on a free. To do what? To be a squad player? To be fair to you, Matt, you know what? Thinking about it, I'm not going to put this out there. Maybe he could be our James Milner. Maybe. Because I do like him as a player. I'm not sure he's. I'd be fearful for Arsenal buying a player like this. I would, because I just would. So yes, having thought about it, Matt, you may have a point. I'm still not sure I'd do it, but I could see the comparison. Have you seen the Jeremy Doku from Anderlecht? He's a raw talent that we should be targeting. Nope. Where does he play, Ben? I have no idea. They missed KDB today. Can I ask somebody a question? Is KDB out for the Arsenal game as well? Because that would help. He would be on a free. Yeah, he would be on a free. He would be on a free. Is he on 200k? Is Willian on 200k? Then no. If he's on 200k, then no. If he's prepared to cut it to 150, then yeah, all right. Eric, let me see what he's saying. Good players leave Chelsea to become great. See, if Willian was that age, because KDB left when I believe he was 20, Salah left when he was 21, then they went on to become great. And Jose Mourinho was managing them. So these are crucial points that we forget here. Do I rate Jan Collar? I feel like the name is familiar and I can't remember who that is. So I'll never bullshit you guys. I don't want to say one way or another if I'm confusing him. No to Willian. We are the Arsenal. Matt Basic. Willian is on 120 Chig. Okay. I could see the logic. I just have some Sylvester, Benayoun, you know, them type of flashbacks a little bit. Now, admittedly, I think Willian is a lot better in his position than Sylvester was in his. But I remember people were gassing the idea of Benayoun coming to Arsenal. And I was like, what are you talking about? No. Now, I'm not quite there with Willian, but I can't help but think of him when I'm thinking of Willian for free. But for free, on a cheap contract, might be worth a punt. Who has a bigger global name? It's us. We do. But that doesn't mean anything. I think Willian is a good player. We've seen examples of Liverpool take Milner from Man City. Milner, by the way, was older than Willian when Liverpool took him from Man City. Look at Milner now. So it can work, but I think you need to understand what you need it working for. Like, where do you plan to play Willian? On the wing? Then no, I don't want him for that purpose. If you plan to play him as a squad player, as a potential central midfielder squad player, okay, I could buy into that a little bit more. Because I think his position will, if he doesn't already play central midfield, I think he will end up doing that. So I think for that purpose, I'm more prepared to buy it. Oh, he's a Czech Republic striker. I've seen him play once, and I remember being quite impressed by him. Don't know him well enough to say if I'd buy him, though. That's Collar, by the way, I'm talking about. Willian can play at number 10, yeah. That is a number 10 option. But here's the other thing I would say, Matt. Are we getting rid of Mkhitaryan to then bring on Willian? Yeah, I have an issue with that. I'd rather that goes to a young, up-and-coming prospect than a Willian. But if Mesut Ozil was to leave as well, then okay, all right. I'd take Willian on a punt. Havertz is perfect Mesut replacement. He is, except for the fact that we ain't got no chance of getting Havertz. That's why I don't mention. That's why I don't even mention Havertz. We ain't got no chance of bringing Havertz. Come on, guys. In my Anderson Silva voice. Come on, guys. Come on. You ain't got nothing. Mkhitaryan can't believe Arteta's considering that idea. Stop this Willian talk. That ain't happening. He's been bugging up Jose this week on interviews. He's Spurs bound. I agree with that. I think that I could see that happening. Levy don't want to spend money. He wants to get a good player. Willian wants to stay in London. Wants to play for Jose again. I think that I can see happening. Yes, I think that's a good call. Play Pepe at number 10. Play Pepe on the left. You know, might as well. Saka can play right, by the way. He can play both wings. Play that, invested a DM and a back line. I do like the idea of Pepe as a number 10, though, I must admit. I think that could work. Jonathan David for 20 million from Gang. Matt Williams, I also like that deal. I think that would be a good purchase. I prefer that to the Malin link, in my honest opinion. Yeah. In my honest opinion, not under the current ownership. If they were to leave, then yeah, why not? But I think under the current ownership, when they're prepared to take risks like hiring a novice manager, I just I don't see it happening. I just don't. All right, guys. 5 more minutes and I'm out of here. I wasn't going to go to 11:30. I'll go to 11:30. So 5 more minutes, I'm out of here. 82 people watching. Please do slap a like on this video. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. As I always say, and I'll say it one final time, I know people hate it when I bang on about likes. Donations are fantastic. I will always reinvest donations back into the show because, you know, I don't want to stop until I'm in a studio. That's the end goal for me. But at the same time, whilst donations are great, what's even better, the thing that everybody can do is just slapping a like on. That's your donation to the show. But it's just slapping a like on that video because it helps the show get noticed. It helps more people realize that I'm live and they want to come on and they want to hopefully subscribe. And the show just grows and grows and grows and grows. So, yeah. Is this the most important transfer? Matt, I think every summer somebody says this. I think the most important, I'm going to change that statement to say the most important thing we do this summer is sell. We must sell. That's the most important thing we do this summer. Before an Aubameyang agrees a contract, before a Saka agrees a contract, selling Deadwood is the most important thing we do this summer because it seems like we are unable to do it every single year. We should focus on that. GT Playboy, big up for that. Thank you very much. Who is my favorite all-time Arsenal player? So, Ian Wright is the reason I support Arsenal because he was, and I'll just be honest, he was a black man who played for the club, and it made me realize that it was possible. But that, in a way, is a lie. Because I supported Arsenal before that. My very first memory of Arsenal was the '89 Anfield. And my mum has always been an Arsenal fan. So I had no choice. Plus, I live in North London. So I definitely have no choice. Because it weren't going to be them lot. It weren't going to be them lot. They looked like a dead team even back then. Oh, so yes, to fully answer your question, my actual favorite Arsenal player is Kanu. Yep, Kanu. You heard me. Chig, would you buy or sell in the summer? I'll do both. But I think the most important thing we need to do is sell. Why just Matt William? Brother, I'm answering all questions. And maybe you spamming that same question is the reason I'm not answering yours. Chig, we should go back for Everton Suarez. Just imagine a front three with Everton Suarez, Uber, Pepe. How is Everton Suarez doing? That would be the real question. It all depends how he's doing. Good at Eagle Eye, we're all on the same team, Chig. Yes, we are. 6-0 City will be great. Do you rate Christian CH? A bit. Yes, I did. Just for you, VP. Thank you again for your donation. Appreciate it. Chambers can play right back, so keep him. He's terrible at right back. I would not keep him for that reason. He's terrible at right back. I think people forget how slow he is at right back until he plays at right back. Kanu's hat-trick at the Bridge was the best hat-trick in the Premier League. Well, I think so. but I fully accept I am biased. Don't sell Socrates. There's good mentality. Oh gosh, you're one of these. I have to put my answer 3 or 4 times in the chat room type of person, aren't you? I love to get Decore and Partey. I'd sell Guendouzi and Xhaka. Oh, well, that would be fantastic. Would you sell Torreira though, Matt? That's the real question. Prime RVP or Aubameyang? Oh, that's a very good question. Do you know what, chat room? I want you to answer this question while I think about it. I'll tell you my answer before I go. That's a good question. I'll let the chat room handle that one for a second. 1 more minute of questions. Chig, we all know that who needs to leave, but in your heart of hearts, can you trust the Arsenal board to do anything? I feel like it'd be more of loans, and yes, kind of. Mark, I think you're spot on. I don't trust the board for shit. Straight up. Kanu flatten Chelsea and De Goy in goal. Shit keeper. All right, let's read some of these answers. All right. So Matt Williams, yes. He says Prime RVP. Marble says Uber. Oh, Matt, that's yes too. I would sell Torreira. Okay, I'm with you. True Peacock. Torreira's still young, could be very good. We should keep him. RVP was prolific for a season. RVP, Aubameyang. It's interesting. To me, I would keep an Aubameyang because, as someone alluded to, we only had Prime RVP for a season. Just saying. It was literally for 1 season. And I don't know about you guys. I remember during that season, I was shitting myself that RVP would get injured at some point because he was literally just the type of player. He was the type of player that as soon as he got injured, he was out for 6 weeks. You're just that type of player. So, yeah, I'll take Aubameyang. Straight up. My guy, South London's finest. Would you sell Bellerin? In a heartbeat. I was so disappointed by his Olympiacos performance. I don't really go in on a Bellerin. You guys know this. I've never really gone in on Bellerin. Even when Lee was getting, getting made famous from his tirade on Bellerin, you never really. I mean, I've shouted on him, but I've never really thought he's good enough. But I've never really gone in on him. I was so disappointed by his Olympiacos performance. I thought, all right, enough's enough. Let's go and get Max Aarons and just be done with this. So that's what I'd do. I'd go and get Max Aarons. Chig still getting done with the old Drew Peacock gag. I have no idea what the Drew Peacock gag is. Drew Peacock. Oh. Damn it. I wish I'd said it in my head prior to actually saying it out loud. Then I would have caught myself. Aubameyang is a better goal scoring record than RVP. Yes, exactly. Me too. Bag money, bro. Do you have Insta? All right, guys. I've done some overtime, as VP would say. So I'm up out of here. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. I know I owed you one of these. I know I owe you one of these tomorrow. So guess what? I'll be back tomorrow. Same time. You know me. I like my 11 o'clock spots. I know I went a little earlier today, but I like my 11 o'clock spots normally. So make sure you catch me around 11 o'clock. I'll talk about some stories again. And we'll do this late night with Chig stuff, bro. I know you guys like it. So I'm up out of here. Please do subscribe if you haven't already. Smash the like button if you haven't already. And I'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Peace.